But you're sticking with that disco era, though. I mean, what was it like growing up in the 70s, 80s, or when disco was at its peak, with obviously the Odyssey to the Bee Gees, Earth, Wind and Fire, Marvin Gaye, all these incredible artists? I mean, what was it like to actually grow up in that era?
Well, for me personally, it was a tough time because at that time, New York City, as I mentioned, was a very dangerous place to work and live and work. In 1977, the city of New York nearly went bankrupt.
I heard.
So the schools, the um, public transport, all your services, everything was just it was just horrible. Police, there were, weren't enough police. Crime was ridiculous. Jobs, forget it. There were no jobs to be had, which again is why Odyssey even came to be formed in the first place. I'll share this with you. Is even the reason why hip hop kind of exists. I mean, it has always existed as an art form in the African American community anyway. But
Hmm.
this, what we know today, is hip hop and rap, and that even came to existence in New York because, again, at this same time, the schools, the budgets were being cut in our public, what we call public schools. The schools run by the
Mm.
city. So the first thing to go, as is here, the first thing to go when they need to find money is you cut all of these what they consider frivolous programs.
Hmm.
That would be music, drama, arts. That always goes first.
Always.
For a lot of us in the inner city, the only way that we could learn any music, proper music, or the only way that any of us could even have access to an instrument
Yeah.
was in public school. So once all of that got cut, show you the nature of creativity. Um, well, brothers were like, well, I don't have a guitar anymore, or I can't get access to even play on a piano at school or anything, but I've got a turntable and I have this other turntable. And that's kind of how that whole thing kind of started, just as a way to remain creative in the absence of musical instruments, of musical instruction, of access. And so that's what the disco era kind of brought initially, before it became the big boom and the big thing.
Yeah.
Once I got into it, uh, then came this kind of, well, I can share with you as well that I'm in my teens when the disco era came out, liking to go out and party and everything. But of course, the disco era brought this how can I describe it? Well, we used to call it plastic, but you had to get dressed up. I mean, really dressed out up to go to the clubs,
Mm.
and they were expensive.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So you go in these clubs and there's all these people standing around, and men all dressed in Pierre Cardin suits and what have
Yeah.
you. And it cost me $10, which in 1977, 78 was a hell of a lot of money just to spend to go in a place, never mind buying drinks or anything.
Yeah.
And all of these guys and a lot of the women were just standing around profiling, is what we used to call it,
Yeah.
just standing there being cool. I spent all of this money. I've come out here to dance. I've come out here to shake my ass and sweat. Not stand around and be cool. But I always stuck out like a sore thumb in these kind of places. 'Cause here's the deal. Listen, if the DJ plays something I liked, I'd ask a lady to dance because you used to do that back in the day. You'd actually ask somebody if
Mhm.
they would dance with you.
Yeah.
And after she looked you up and down, checked your shoes, and tried to get a glimpse of the label on your suit, and
Yeah.
then told you no, I would go on the dance floor by myself. I just didn't care anymore. And then a guy at a warehouse where I managed to get a job, he was a gay guy. And he was always talking about this place called the Paradise Garage, which wasn't far from where we worked. It was a gay club. Now, I'd never, been in the midst of gay people or anything, but I didn't have any problem with them.
Mm.
Anyway, so you had to have membership to get in it and everything. And he took me to this club. And this is where the beginning of house and and disco, and was really, really starting to gain this momentum in these gay clubs. It had its commercial aspect, as you know.
Hmm.
Some of it that you were hearing on the radio, and your Bee Gees and your Saturday Night Fever, and it was that side of it. And then there was this other side of it, which we now know as house, and the UK incarnate. I call it garage.
Yeah.
The rest of it. But this was all going on in these gay clubs. And the first time I went into this Paradise Garage, first of all, the men, they were wearing whatever the hell they liked. I
Yeah.
mean, down to G strings, jeans,
Wow. Yeah.
everything that you couldn't possibly wear in these normal
Yeah.
quote unquote disco clubs. And there was that sense of freeness and that sense of nobody gave a damn. Nobody, whether you danced by yourself or you danced with another man, there were a few women that they would let in there. And even then, you could have a really good time with them because they were able to relax, knowing that the men in this place are probably not going to be trying to hit on me all night and stuff. So they could really let their hair down. Straight guy like me, I could always find the women in these gay clubs and have a good time because they also knew, this guy isn't going to bother me.
Mm.
So that's what disco eventually began to represent to me, was this freedom, this sense of, let's just get in here. Let's forget all the troubles. Forget all the problems. Let's just come someplace. Never mind how we're dressed and what we look like, or what our sexual persuasion is, or what our race is, or any of that. Let's just come in here. It used to open on a Monday night, for crying out loud,
Yeah.
and go all the way through. And then I told you I worked not far from where this place is. Me and this gay guy had this same job, and we end up stumbling into work the next
The next
Tuesday
day.
morning,
Yeah.
having been all night at the garage.
Wow.